On this episode, I'm going to help you level up your nutrition game. What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 106 of the Foundation First Fitness Show with Bob Acko. And today we are continuing our journey on 7 things every athlete should be doing by talking about nutrition. So before I get into it, I want to tell a quick story about what had happened to me last week, which I couldn't get on the last episode, but is related to the last episode. So here we go. I was in here getting a workout in. I think it was like a Tuesday. I was getting a workout in, and I had not slept well the night before, so I was pretty tired. I get to the workout, which is later on in the day because I'd put the workout off the entire day because I was doing some work. Get to the workout, and I think I'm starting to kind of like work through a little bit of a back issue that I'd had. I'm starting to ramp up the weight a bit. But nonetheless, I'd done a back squat, and I'd done about 225 pounds, which is still pretty light. But I had only done it 4 times, and I could feel the weight of it. Like, it felt really heavy. And I noticed how much I was struggling with the weight just because of how heavy it was. And so when I looked back at it, I was like, man, like maybe I wasn't sleeping well. And I looked at my sleep tracker, and I realized that for the last couple of days, I hadn't slept well. I hadn't been eating well for those couple of days. And then when I went to fast forward a couple of days, and I'd done the same workout again on that Saturday, I had preceded that by sleeping well, eating really well, and literally had done 215 for about 15 reps, which is such a huge difference. But it just goes to show you how important sleep is and how important nutrition is, and knowing that your nervous system is going to take a beating if you don't have those two on point. And if you're not basically recovering well and you're not feeling good, your nervous system is what's going to take the punishment for it. You may not really feel it because you're not pushing yourself past that limit. You'll just feel a little tired, but you're like, wow, shrug it. Once I get into it, I'll be fine. But your nervous system is going to tell you right away, like, it can't get there. And that was like it was actually really eye-opening for me. And I was like, whoa, I'd felt it, but not that dramatically. So leading back into the talk on nutrition, and nutrition has been a really important topic, especially around the fitness and the training world, because it does so much. It helps us with our recovery, it helps us with muscle gain, helps us with weight loss, and it helps us with performance. But with all this, there do come a couple of problems. Number one is the confusion. The confusion of how much information is out there. What are the best topics? What are the best rules? What are the best practices? What are the best diets? What are the best regimens to follow? What are the best foods to follow? What foods shouldn't I eat? There's so much discussion. There's so much back and forth that it honestly becomes really confusing. Restrictions. Now we have diet restrictions. Some people are developing, issues that they never had earlier in their lives. So, like my sister's gluten intolerant. She can't have gluten. So that's another restriction she has to work around. Some people have allergies. Some people have intolerances. These become restrictions. The other type of restriction is sometimes you just don't have the luxury in your day to be able to have a nice meal the way it should be with the proper portion, but everything, well set out, taking the time out in your day, cooking a meal, because a lot of us work. Some of us work different types of jobs that don't allow us to really sit down. We're always on the go, things of that sort. Sometimes you're just on the road, you're traveling, you don't have that option. You have to kind of pick and choose based on the restaurants that are available to you, what you're going to be, where you're going to be eating, how you're going to be eating, how to manage all these things, making sure it fits in. So a lot of this stuff becomes really, really challenging. And that's why getting the right information is really important. I think, number one, you should speak to a professional, no matter what. I'm going to give you guys some advice. I'm going to tell you what I know, which I think is still pretty little, but you're going to need to get the advice from a professional in this field. Do I give nutritional advice? I give kind of baseline advice, like what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, things to keep in mind. I do know quite a bit, even though I don't really think I do. I feel like that's probably like me just like not really wanting to discuss it a lot because I don't want to give the wrong advice because it's not my area of expertise. The training world is my area of expertise. So I try to stick to what I know more than anything, which is why I would recommend speaking with a nutritionist. They're going to be able to build you something that is going to work for you. They're going to take in consideration all the restrictions. They're going to help you find out what works best based on your schedule. And honestly, you're going to get the results you want. I honestly wholeheartedly believe that nutrition is an underestimated area of the fitness and training world. And the sports world for that matter. I think it's so valuable and gets overlooked all the time. Now, getting into what I know and what I understand, what I believe. I think before you really take on anything, you have to understand the basis, the fundamentals of it. And the reason I say that is because a lot of individuals, when they come into the fitness world or when they're in the athletics world and they're trying to perform, they resort to supplementation, supplements, protein powders, glutamines, whatever the hell, all this stuff, anything that's under the sun, they resort to it and they trust it and they believe in it. And they're more, hell, I see people who will literally panic when they don't have their protein shake after their workout, but will literally order pizza for dinner. And I just go, like, are you serious? Like, that makes no sense. That's like having vitamin C and like a multivitamin, but not wanting to eat fruits or vegetables because you're like, I just don't like it. I'm just gonna have a vitamin C tablet. I'm gonna have some multivitamins. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's not the same thing. They're supplements for a reason. These are supplementations. And you'd be surprised how often I see that happen. And I usually laugh at them and I point it out to them. I'm like, you know how ridiculous you sound, right? So number one, if you're not getting the food that you're eating is not like your actual basis of real food nutrition is not on point, the supplements won't help. That's why it's called a supplement and not your main meal. So what I would tell you is 80-20 rule. It's a rule I got from a nutritionist who came on the show. I'm going to link it up above. Spoke about 80% whole foods, 20% non-whole foods. If you can understand that fundamental component of why you should be going to whole foods for the majority and non-whole foods and being able to balance that out, hell, I'd even push it to 90-10, if not more. Obviously, it's not practical to be able to always hit 90-10. I do it on many days because obviously I work in my own office. I control my hours. I have that luxury. I don't have kids. I don't have responsibilities like that to need to kind of like work around it. I'm not traveling for work. I leave from the house. I come right to the office and that's it. So because of that, I would tell you that, it's very easy for me to be able to balance that out. However, that's why the 80-20 rule is very easy, even if for someone who doesn't have that luxury, it's still very easy to do. And the difference is huge. The difference is so noticeable, so monumental. It's usually what I tell people as a prime piece of advice. Start with that 80-20, we'll move from there. Most nutritionists will probably agree with me on that one, that if you don't have if you don't have a good foundation of nutrition under your belt, you're going to struggle with anything just because you can't resort to supplements. They just don't work. The next thing I would tell you is understand what works best for you. Not everything is going to work for me the same way it'll work for you. Subsequently, it may work for 10 other people, but it might not work for you. So you need to understand what works best for you by working with a professional. I'm coming back to the professional thing. So that's why I'm saying that a lot of people resort to vegan diets, paleo diets. The other one, the high fat, high protein diet. Oh my God. And now the name escapes me completely. Keto diet. All these different types and all these different diet options are all great. Intermittent fasting is another one. All great. All useful. All very valuable. All very doable. But do they all work for you? And that's really what it comes down to. Some people will feel a good positive reaction and some people will just not be able to do it because their lifestyle just does not permit for it. So I would tell you that it's really important for you to understand what works best for you. The other thing I will tell you is hydration. Hydration is something that a lot of athletes just don't pay attention to. Hydration being a really key player in it. If you're not getting enough hydration, if you're not drinking enough water, you're in trouble. And the final thing I would say is if you don't get a stranglehold on it, other areas of your life will start getting affected, meaning your sleep, your stress levels, and so on and so forth. So getting an understanding of it will trickle into other areas of your life. So if you want to improve your sleep, improve your nutrition, if you want to improve your stress level, improve your nutrition, if you want to improve your mood during the day, improve your nutrition. These are all important details because they all help with recovery. They all help with performance. They all help with weight gain, weight loss, whatever. So in that regard, I would say 80-20 is your main rule. Figure out what works best for you. And understand, keep that in mind, that when you're not saying yes to the proper nutrition, you're saying no to your stress. You're saying yes to stress level, and you're saying yes to poor sleep, and you're saying yes to all these other health problems that are going to come with it, which is why I recommend nutrition as being at the forefront of your performance routine, performance regimen, and performance principles and ways of life. So if you have any questions, please feel free to write them down in the comment. I'm sure this is going to stir up a lot of discussion. I want to say that if ever there was like a supplement that I would recommend, I would say, I feel like I'm going to get that as a question, so I'm just going to answer it now. I would say some type of greens. Yeah, I'd probably say some type of greens. I think that would probably be your best bet. Yeah, I will go with that. I haven't really given it much thought. I usually don't recommend. The only protein supplements I'll ever recommend anybody is if someone's really struggling to get the amount of protein they need in their diet and they want something that's going to be able to give them the protein on the go. And I'll always tell them organic, vegan, not made with, pea protein. So something's just going to be more than just pea protein. It's going to be a combination of different types of grains and vegetables, because if you just have pea protein, you're getting like one source in. So the array of amino acids is definitely not going to be hit, which is something you want to really pay attention to, which is why I will tell someone, if you are having a vegan protein, don't just put vegan protein in water, mix it up and drink it. Mix it with a smoothie that will have a bunch of other things. So at least that way you're going to be able to kind of get the full spectrum is the word, not array, spectrum of amino acids that you're going to need in. So on that note, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments section below. Can't wait to talk to you guys next time. And until then, keep building that foundation. Take care, guys.